So a huge day for women's cricket, a huge day for gender parity. Joining me now, Mithali Raj, who I spoke to earlier, the Indian cricket women's great. Also joining us, Nandan Kamath. He's a sports lawyer who's done a lot for sports in the country. Diana Edulji, one of the original stars of the sport, will join us. But first to you, Mithali, what does it mean for someone like you who's played for India for so long?
I think I'm very delighted by this news today, and it's sort of a landmark decision by BCCI to have equal pay in terms of the match fees for the girls, and they completely deserve, and this decision has come at the right time, and I feel it is in the right direction as well.
But what was it like for you when you first played for India? How much did you get paid when you first played for India? Maybe even for the railways? What were the amounts that give us a sense of how far we've come?
Well, when I debuted in 1999, there was no match fees as such for a long time until we came under BCCI, and then they started tour fees, and then slowly there was inclusion of match fees and the central contracts in 2016 when Mr. Anurag Thakur, Honorable Minister of Sports now, was the president of BCCI. So I think a lot of things have changed coming under BCCI, the way we travel, the sponsorship deals, and I feel that now the sport has its own fan base. Players are well-known names in household, and there is a brand to the sport, and even the ICC events are a standalone events now. Doesn't run parallelly to men events. So I think as a sport, it's come a long way. Women's cricket has its own journey. I've been very fortunate to be part of that journey. My growth as a player has been pretty synonymous with the evolution of women's cricket in our country. So I'm very happy to live to see this day where the girls will be paid equally in terms of the match fees.
Okay, so Mithali Raj saying she's really happy to live to see this day. That sets us our talking point. Has the BCCI now set an example for everyone else, particularly in sport? IPL for women, should that be the next big target? Does the market decide an athlete's pay? These are some of the questions that we want to raise tonight. Should market value decide an athlete's pay? Diana Edulji, Nandan Kamath, co-founder Sports and Society Accelerator, Amish Das Sabarwala, advertising person, all join us. Diana Edulji, you go first. Do you believe that this is a step in the right direction? Do you believe that the women deserve the same pay as men?
At the outset, Rajdeep, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Jay Shah and his BCCI team for this historic decision they have come out with today. What better gift would you get on a Diwali day? Diwali celebrations are going on, and BCCI has given a great financial package to the women cricketers. This is definitely a historic day. Women cricketers getting the same match fees as the men is the step in the right direction. It is not only this, but it has started some time back when the COA took over. Even before that, when Mr. Anurag Thakur was the president, that central contracts did come into play. We took it forward. When I was in the committee as an administrator, saw to it that the women cricketers, past cricketers, got the one-time benefit, pensions for the 1 to 9 test match players who have played that many tests, which was not there. It was only for the male cricketers.
But let me stop you. Let me stop you for a moment. Let me stop you for a moment while celebrating to play devil's advocate. And Nandan Kamath, there will be those, and this debate was there during tennis as well, when men and women were given the same amount of money for winning a Grand Slam, that actually the market value of men's tennis, or dare I say, men's cricket, is way above that of women. I know that that's a contentious issue, but do you believe that's an issue of the past? That at the moment you just should see women and men's cricket at the same level in terms of pay?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Rajiv. And I certainly welcome the move, and I also welcome the way in which it was made. If you look at the release, a couple of words used in the release as equal pay as tackling discrimination and also bringing equity to women players. And these are two important words because they actually recognize that you're dealing with equals. Discrimination comes when you're treating equals unequally. So I find that a very positive and first step to bridging gaps between what you would consider equals. And the argument has been used, Rajdeep, over time, saying that women cricketers don't sort of merit this because they aren't marketable, they don't bring the rights value. But I think this is very much consistent with the BCCI's view overall, which essentially talks about the market power of India and the viewing population. And if you look at the rights values that have come for the IPL, much of it is actually premised on female viewership of the sport. And you can try and build a sort of a direct relationship between the value of rights of women's matches, but you can also take a much broader view of how much women are contributing to the sort of the commercial structure of cricket in India. And this is very much a sort of a deserved and merited status. I would argue inevitable. It was a matter of when, because morally, legally, and even commercially, this was it was just waiting for the decision to be made, and I'm glad it's been made now.
Okay, I take the moral argument. I still wonder about the commercial argument, Amish Das Sabharwal, because as an advertising person, there'll be those who will say it's, you'll have a women's IPL hopefully next year, but the general belief is the sponsors will all want to be associated with the men's IPL, at least for now. Do you believe that commercially today women sports persons carry the same brand value as men? Is that an argument worth making at all?
So I'm first of all completely bowled over with what BCCI has done, and secondly, I didn't want to use any funds on national television, but I think I want to kind of zoom out a little, and I want to congratulate in the first step. But I feel that what we are kind of doing, and it is important to have the mandate or the structure which BCCI is given. Opportunities, yes, it comes in terms of, the women's IPL coming up. But when it comes to the general mindset, India is still 140 of 156 countries when it comes to gender pay, right across the world, according to the World Economic Forum report. So, like mindset-wise, I think gender roles, sports is for men.
Will
that
sponsors,
sort of mindset is
let me
there.
be more direct, will a sponsor give the same money for a women's IPL that he or she would give for a men's, yes or no?
The answer right now is no, but if it can get the viewership, then the answer is yes. And the viewership ultimately depends on the mindset of people, which needs to change at the core of things as well. Yeah.
Nandan, you believe that argument holds at all? And as I said, this argument was made by even top tennis men's players when they were saying, we play 5 sets, the women play 3, why should they get the same amount of money?
I mean, even a couple of years ago, some of the Indian women cricketers held that view. But I think it's a chicken and egg issue, and it's one that you have to break somewhere. And I believe the BCCI has taken an extremely bold move to address the pay issue on a per match basis. And that's really a first step of many that are going to have to be undertaken. Essentially, if you're talking about 15 lakhs per test match, the second question is how many test matches are you setting up for the women? They haven't played that many over the many years. So on a unit basis, yes, they're getting paid the same amount. But this actually starts the whole economy, which had to be sort of intervened at somewhere. It was either doing it at the top or doing it at the bottom or doing it everywhere. And I think strategically, this was the right place to start. The next is about building a broader structure to get women playing more, not only at the elite level, but through the structures of junior cricket. And there are many positive moves. For the first time, we actually have junior under 16 cricket being played by women. So very, very positive moves, and we're seeing all of this move in the right direction.
We've also got a under 19 Women's World Cup coming up in India next year. So that's another big ticket event. But Diana Edulji, just for our viewers to know that there was an India before all of this happened, isn't it true that all of you had to go to a World Cup once by actually raising money on your own? You'll have to fund your own trip to a World Cup in New Zealand. Am I correct?
I'll just correct it, to Australia.
To Australia.
1981 World Cup, where each girl had to pay 10,000 rupees to play for India.
Let me say that again to our viewers. Hold on.
Talented players
let me
missed
say
out
that
on
again.
the tour.
No, can you repeat that? You had to pay 10,000 rupees each to play for India to go to Australia?
10,000 rupees to play. Yes, we
and
did.
The tickets?
It was under the Women's Cricket Association of India at that time, which everything, that time everything was included.
I see.
So, you know, it was not easy. We had to reach out to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra then, Mr. Athelete, who was readily, you know, gracious enough to give us the 40,000 because we were 4 girls from Maharashtra going for that tour.
So, you know, we've come from
We have laid the foundation and now a big building is coming up, and I appreciate the steps being taken by BCCI. There is viewership. Lord's 2017 World Cup had a full house. 2020 MCG had 90,000 people watching the T20 World Cup, India versus Australia. We've got the viewership. During the IPL playoffs, we had the T20 League, which also attracts a lot of crowd. So there is viewership. It only needs to be marketed well, and I'm sure everything will fall into place.
A final word, Nandan, will this only be cricket, or do you believe across all sports now we'll have a situation where women will be paid equally to men? Or do you believe for now it's restricted to cricket?
I think we are going to see a slow evolution. Like I said, there's an inevitability about cricketers having got to here. Other sports, I think the men will be happy to be paid the same amount as men cricketers. There's a long way to go on professionalization of many of the other sports. But what I do think is that this is a very strong beaconing role. So it's telling everyone that women are on the same pedestal. Women are equal, doing the same job, and that's not just for other sport, but in many ways sport is really upstream as much as it is downstream of culture. It is the product of the society we live in, but also has the great chance to influence the way we think about work, the way we think about achievement, and the way we think about talent. So I think there's a lot to take away from this, and it's a big night tonight.
It's a big day today, day to celebrate. It's our good news story. Diana Edulji, as I said, you've been one of the pioneers. You have much to celebrate today. And I'm looking forward to the women's IPL later next year. Thank you all very much for joining me here on the news today.